Hello, I hope you're having a great day today. I am very thankful to be happy and alive, good spirits. And I would like to share something specific to, it doesn't have to be game development, but I'm going to be speaking mostly within the context of game or game-like application development, specifically 3D game applications. Could be literally any 3D application, though, where there's some assets that are created by a 3D artist, and then they will go downstream to some developer or engineer who's implementing that particular asset, that 3D asset within an application, be it a game or whatever. And what I'd like to point out today is a very clear industry-wide issue that many different companies have came up with their own bespoke solutions to this. I would like to bring maybe the conversation out from behind, um, closed doors to a more open forum and look towards ultimately having more open source solutions to this because I see that trend as producing a lot of benefits for the entire space where we can enable you know, different entities to come up with their own solutions, user-facing application solutions that don't have to be worried by this problem. Now, what is the problem? I've been leading into this for quite some time now. What is the problem? So let's just say that you're in an application such as Blender. And in Blender, you have designed a model. You are an artist. You are a 3D modeler. You've done something like create this model, like this cube right here. Nothing much, but it's representative of some type of deliverable that you would expect from a 3D artist. So I can export this currently. I can go export this, for example, as a GLTF. I will show you that currently it's defaulted in the Blender application to binary. Just for the purpose of this example here, I'm just going to make it plain text. And yeah, I'll just keep the basic, defaults as they are. Okay, and I'm going to call this cube. Let me just call it cube. And let me make on my desktop, let me make maybe a new folder. And I'll call this new folder, okay. Efficient pipeline, because that's what this is going to be about, is really coming up with an efficient pipeline from the designer, from the 3D modeler in this case, to the end user, that kind of pipeline all the way through. So let's go ahead and export this. It's exported. Let me go ahead and jump into the desktop. Let me go to the folder there. And let me just open this with, I'll just probably use Visual Studio Code to do this. We're just gonna, yeah. So should I always? I might as well. Okay. See, this is hot off the presses. I haven't done any preparation for this, so it's kind of a cold run through here, but here we are. Let's go ahead and take a look at what was generated there. So we can see that we have this JSON file, because that's really what a GLTF file is at its structural core. It's following JavaScript object notation. And if we look right here, we have these top level keys or properties of asset, scene, scenes, nodes. If we go through here, we'll see that there are a number of these top level keys or properties, if you would rather call them properties. Okay, and where is that coming from? So if we go over here to the property reference found at Kronos Group, we really have the benefits of this being a worldwide specification where we can count on this particular specification for the properties, or at least the properties that can exist on a GLTF file. Now, of course, you can veer away from this agreement and implement your own thing, but then again, we stray away from the benefits of following the specification. If you notice right here, we have these like accessor. I went back over here. We can see we have assets. Does it have accessor in there? I don't think so. Yeah, accessors. So there we have accessors right there. This is accessor. Let's see. Node. I think we saw node as well. So let's go maybe take a look at that. Accessors, buffer views, buffers, meshes. Let's see if we can go find that. Meshes. And over here we can see we have, well, let's go down to the specific names down here. Okay, let's go down and look. So over here we can see, yeah, here we have all these. So we have extras right here, for example. And extras is what we're going to focus on. Let's actually just jump right to that. Extras is an area for application-specific data. This is perfect because you perhaps working within a small team, big company or whatever, you're working on something, solving a problem, serving some clients, some customers, putting something out there to benefit people. You're going to have some application-specific data. You're going to have some unique things that are going to be specific to whatever the solution is that you're providing. I think there can also be some extras that are kind of not unique to one organization, but maybe unique to a category of organization. And that's really what I'm going to start looking at here today. So under extras, maybe we can have some different properties under extras that we as a community gather around as an expectation, and then we can start building out some additional plugins within like Blender, or so over here in Blender we were just using the default Blender export GLTF, but within the Blender Python API we could just intercept that or call that export through the Blender Python API and make some slight amendments to what's getting saved, specifically according to something that we could agree upon that gets stored in this extras region of the GLTF. So let's just add something right now just to talk about visibility of this. And I'm going to talk specifically like within Babylon.js. So at this point it might get a little specific once we get to the, or at least once we get to the Babylon.js part. So let me go over here and add an extras area. So the last section over here is buffers, which is an array. So buffers is an array. We want something that's an object. Doesn't really matter. I can go change that. I can just go over here and add extras, and then I can put the value on that as being, yeah, that's what I want it to be. I want extras to be an object. That's what so they don't even say, they just say application specific stuff. So for this to work, which doesn't even mean that the value of extras, if it exists, even has to be an object. So that's part of what I'm considering here. So if you're interested in becoming part of this ecosystem where we have some shared benefits in being within a certain category of application, because again, application specific data is to go in here, then I am basically suggesting that we make this extras value in object. And let me just say over here, extras, let me just put test. And let's just say, oh, this is actually has to be valid JSON. I am so, doesn't JavaScript do that to you, since you can get away with just representing an object without being necessarily strict JSON. And let me just put over here, let me put in here test, and I'll just say prop one, I don't know, just being kind of generic over here, and then I can just say, I don't know, 999. Okay, now that I've done that, let me go ahead and save that. Okay, noticing this doesn't have any materials or assets, so it's not going to have that extra like bin file or anything. So there's my file right there. Let me maybe close out of this altogether, and go back to, yeah. So here's this file now that's been edited. Let me just verify that it's edited properly. Sometimes, yeah, so at the bottom down here, do we have, yes we do, we have extras right there with our tests, so that's all good. Just want to check now. Second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to glitch, and I'm going to just make just a hello project on glitch. This could be anywhere. You can do this locally on your computer. I'm just going to do an example where I use, as you'll see here in a moment, Babylon.js. Again, it doesn't really matter for this to be in this category of people that can benefit from this. Let me just get rid of that, and I will just say GLTF. And I will just say extras. I'm just going to basically use this right now, honestly, as like a CDN. I will build out some examples maybe of my own right in here, but let me go over here, maybe put GLTF extras, something like that. Maybe just go over here and put something else. Okay, so in these assets over here, if I go grab that, whoops, go grab this GLTF file, I can now copy that link right there. That's all I need right now, and maybe go over to this. And this is a Babylon.js. Now you don't have to be using Babylon.js. This could be, you could be in Unity, you could be in Unreal Engine, you can be in your own game engine, your own 3D rendering engine. It wouldn't really matter. It could be 3JS. You could be using A-frame on top of 3JS, whatever. I'm just using this right now. So over here, what I'm going to do, and you'll see in a second kind of what I'm up to. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this. This is just an example. And let me just grab the last. I don't even need the very end of that because that's going to be a unique name. And let me go ahead and just cut that off. Put that right there. I believe I should be fine. And okay, we'll talk just want to get a general idea, not all the specific Babylon specific stuff right here. Just want to get a basic idea of what's going to happen here. So let me go ahead and run this. I think this is run. I don't know why that didn't load. That was weird. But is this the run key? Run, yeah. There we go. It's not loading those pictures for some reason. But there is the beautiful cube, no doubt. That is a beautiful cube. That's the cube that we just brought in there. Looks actually a lot nice. That's a really nice little environment right there in this example. Normally it would have, I don't know why these little images aren't loading. I should probably save this. Is this the save button? No. Inspector. Can't even tell what oh, there's save. Let me click save. See if that will help. Okay, still those, I don't know why those images aren't loading. Okay, but let me option command, I'm on a Mac, so I have option key. So let me open up the console over here, clear. Oh, I shouldn't have probably Yeah, let me reload that. I actually got rid of what was printed out there to the console. Gosh, oh well. So over here we can see, look, test. See, it printed out the extras. So right here, it printed out the extras attribute. And then we provided that test key with the property prop1 as being some property name or other key, and then 999 for the value. So that's accessible right there. Now, oh, yippity-doo. Why? Goodness gracious. Why is this even a thing? Why would I even be talking about this? Well, here's the short of it. Whenever a designer is creating something, usually a lot more elaborate than a cube, designer is creating, a 3D modeler is creating something, there's going to be maybe a lot of meshes involved. And maybe there are other things besides meshes, such as lights and cameras and other things as well. So just talking meshes right now, or whatever they are. If you agree upon a certain way of naming things, then you can have your own, for example, like a custom plugin in Blender that will export those automatically, the names of things. And then you knowing ahead of time what your naming system is, what your nomenclature is, you will be able to benefit by knowing the names of things. And it might not also be the names of things as well. You can put all kinds of other metadata. For example, if you were doing like UV editing, maybe you wanted to do some special type of vertex or UV animation in a shader in your application, and you can already have the metadata that relates from the model to the application included in the model itself. So the model, when it's loaded in to the application, will know how to perform. So what do I mean by that? Well, let's just think, if this model right over here was a torch, or let's just say that this was a fire. This was a box with fire or something. Maybe this top face over here, maybe this top face, I would want to have fire coming out of that top face. Well, what I could do is I could, in the metadata for this object, include the information that would let the shader automatically know to generate a fire that kind of comes out of this face. And that could be easily facilitated without having to do any special integration code on the application end of things. And it can be done very cleanly by the designer, the 3D modeler, just following a certain naming scheme and using certain kind of material properties. You can get into a rabbit hole and keep on diving deeper and deeper. I'd like to avoid that. I want to get the basic idea here, is that if this was a box and you want a fire to come out the top, you can come into an agreement of how to name things, basically, and to export the file in such a way. Now, I had to go and edit the GLTF that was exported, but what I'm suggesting is, rather than that, just, for example, exposing over here when you press N, like in Blender, it will come out with this particular flyout menu, and you can create a plugin that will be available in this flyout menu with a custom GLTF export button. And then that particular button would trigger the export of the asset. And you could make that plugin so that it already appends the application-specific data to the extras. So I'm just, in terms of just exposing that top-level functionality as like a generic plugin template, that's what I think is going to be the first step in community-wide collaboration that will benefit categories of solution providers. Okay, so by having a custom export button, that will know what your where you can go in and you can actually tweak. You can actually tweak that by having, you can even have your own extra config file, for example, that goes along with that particular add-on, that Blender add-on. You can have an extra little config file that can be edited later, or you can just go into the Python for the add-on. It doesn't matter. But then you can add your own particular logic that would add stuff in that extras, and that's what this is really about. And in doing so, you can facilitate a very smooth implementation of the asset into the actual application. A matter of fact, so smooth as you can just literally swap it out, and it might not just be just a static asset. It might be doing all kind of fancy things, animating, doing a special type of shading effects and special types of interactions or behaviors or different types of APIs that it's connected to. Really, the sky's the limit. But hopefully you see the benefit in this. If not, I'd love to take on your questions. So go ahead and post your questions in the comment section, and let's have a discussion around this, and maybe start to explore this space for the benefits that it offers. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.